Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning. Having a service team that engages customers is crucial for success in your service department, yet many dealerships are still leaving money on the table by overlooking, these key opportunities that happen every day in your service drive. On today's show, we are learning why this happens. Joining us now with his new book, and I've got that book right here titled Fail to Grow, Why Service Departments Fail to Grow, the real reasons why and the simple techniques for consistent growth, is Don Andres, who is the author and owner and president of Auto SCT Consulting and Training. Donald, thank you so much. Congratulations on the book. It's an easy read for those dealers out there. I suggest you get your hands on a copy of it. We'll have a little link right below, I should say, this video, and so that you can get a copy of the book. But Donald, before we get started on the book, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. I got started in business all the way back in 1979 down in Detroit. Worked for about 20 years in the Detroit market, a large Ford dealerships. I got asked to come down to Reichert Automotive, number one Reichert Automotive in Columbus, Ohio in 2000 to run their fixed operations. And along the way, I bought an existing consulting company and decided I was going to write a book about all the thousands of service advisors and managers in our business that struggle sometimes with stress and chaos. It's most of the time self-induced, and so it seemed like it made sense to put this down on paper and see if I could spread the word to as many opportunities as possible.
That's great. So that's what inspired you to write the book. You help clients across the country. What are some of the key reasons why auto service departments fail to grow?
Well, it's funny because, a typical scenario in a service department would be that a customer would reach out either through an online appointment or call. And we have some very sophisticated BDCs now that'll make these appointments. And so they bring the vehicle in and may have an issue like a check engine light, or just may need maintenance needs. But what happens along the way is that when we come in and we start the write-up process, we discover what's really going on in their lives. Mm-hmm. And it could be as innocent as I'm dropping it off at 9 o'clock. By the way, Johnny has got soccer practice at 2 o'clock. Is it going to be done by then?
Right.
And of course, a writer who values the engagement with the customer is going to go, let me see if I can make that happen. Mm-hmm. Well, the truth of it is the shop is really busy. And now we have officially decided that the frivolous, almost innocent commitment we make to that customer becomes a big panic in a shop. So now technicians go faster. We don't necessarily engage with the customer. We're just now trying to satisfy this need that they have in their lives.
Right.
So what I've learned is that most of the chaos and stress in the service drive is all self-induced, where we didn't think it was important to plan. We didn't think it was important to figure out what's happening in the customer's lives. And now we're just simply reacting to that. So that's really the starting point.
It seems to me, and it's been my experience, that all of this leads back to training that service advisor and the personnel on that service drive to be thinking along these lines, to be thinking along the lines of properly handling every single customer every time. Not, it's 7 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock. Let's just process eyeballs, get them in, get them out. Don't really talk much to the customer about what their needs are. Don't do walk around presentations. And therefore, at the end of the month, you're like, to your point, you get 30% approval rating or approvals on all of these different things that need to be done to vehicles. I mean, that's just a shame to have that situation. But so it seems to me to be a training initiative where, and I know sometimes when I go into a service department with my car, when I've got the new individual that's comes running out and does all of these wonderful things that I'm saying to myself, wow, this service advisor is phenomenal, right? But something tells me if I come back in a year and I get that same service advisor, they go, yeah, what are you in for? Okay, we can do that. Okay, it'll be ready at 5. Okay, thanks a lot. When you pick your car up, it'll be right over there. Bring your credit card with you. And what happens? But the culture inside that service department says, look, just write the order, get them in, get them out. We'll try to do the best we can. And over time, you get a service department and a service advisor that just doesn't is it worth anything, right?
I'll be honest with you. We hire people that love people, right? When we interview service advisors, we go, do you like people? Oh, yeah, yeah. And so we get this really positive individual that starts. And you're exactly right, Jim. They get tainted over time because why? Because of sheer volume, right?
Right.
So,
and because of what they're allowed to do. You know, the old adage is what we allow, we teach. And if that's allowed to happen in that service drive with no checks or balances or ongoing training, then you find a service department that's in trouble.
Well, I'll give you an interesting story. Online appointments are wonderful things, but they expose one real flaw, and that is that customers think last minute, especially when it comes to maintenance, right? Oh my gosh. Now, one thing is emergencies, check engine light comes on. I'm going to look for the next available time, and I'm going to click on that when I go on to the calendar to look for this online appointment, right? Mm-hmm. But it's the same for even last minute maintenance. Oh my gosh, we're taking a trip this weekend. I haven't changed the oil. I'm just going to click. Well, the next available time slot's 11 o'clock, but I got to be at work at 9 in the morning. So what happens is I take the appointment, and about 8:15 in the morning, there I am in the service drive. So the writer says, oh, do we have you scheduled today? Yep, I'm a little early. Oh, I've got you at 11 o'clock. All right, well, somewhere in that line's my real 8:15. So guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to go really fast. Yeah. Okay, yep, got that. Boom, boom, boom. And they're oblivious. They get on their way to work. They don't think anything of it. Now I go to my 8:15. I said, hi, do we have you scheduled? Yeah, why did I bother to make an appointment if you're just going to make me wait anyways? I got to get to work. No problem. I'll go really fast with you too.
Yeah.
In both cases, I never connected. So now at 1 in the afternoon, when I call and say, hey, we got that check engine light looked at. And by the way, we noticed a couple other things we need to get accomplished on your vehicle. Who are you again?
Yeah.
I'm the gentleman that wrote you up this morning. Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm just not sure.
Yeah.
And we know that because sometimes they'll think about it and 2 hours later they'll call back and say, yeah, go ahead and do that. But in that moment, why? Because we never connected. If you do a high level of preparation, which gets back to training, you're exactly right. We need to have a structured process. Dave Anderson, I talk about him a lot in the book when it comes to leadership. If you don't create a culture and a structure, they'll create their own.
That's exactly right.
And in their minds, they believe that's the road to getting their paycheck, when the reality of it is it's 6 different opinions of how a writer should go in the morning with these writers.
That's right.
And then you're right, they get bitter over time.
That's right.
We do this high level of preparation the day before. We reach out to them, say, I see you got it for 11 o'clock. Does that time work for you? Well, no, actually, I got to be work at 9 o'clock. Oh, all right. Well, I do have an 8:15. I can get you in an 8:20. Wow, you'll do that for me? You bet. Yeah, more than happy to figure that out. And then next time, we'll just make sure we're working around your schedule. They haven't even met you, and they already like you because you literally thought it was important enough to call them and make sure things made sense for them.
That's right.
So a highly prepared service advisor, he's just waiting for the day to start. He's got his 15 appointments. He's got his 18 appointments, whatever it might be. He's waiting for Ms. Jones to drive in at 8:15. He goes, thanks for being on time. I'm totally prepared for you. And they can do the prime concern right up in about 10 to 15 seconds. Now they're into the walk around. They're into this engaging. And then, by the way, they'll say a really important thing. Here's what's going to happen today. Because for you, Jim, when you drop off that car, the biggest anxiety isn't sometimes the money. It's literally, when am I getting my car back? And we don't address that. We say, well, I'll give you a call this afternoon. Really?
Yeah.
That this afternoon to them is 1 o'clock. So guess what they do? They call and check on the status of their car.
Every time.
And status phone calls are the most unproductive phone calls you can get. So as you can see, this lack of engagement, this lack of conversation creates the stress and chaos that a writer lives in. And the book is an easy read, you're right. You mentioned it at the very beginning of the broadcast. And it's really geared towards the general managers, service managers, owners who start to value the fact that there's money getting left on the table.
That's right. Yeah. And if a service advisor does what you're talking about doing, they're not going to be a service advisor long in this industry. They're going to get recognized, and guess what? They're going to be a fixed ops director in a very short period of time. And that's, everybody wants a good, clear career path. The best way to do that is to be super in tune with your customers as a service advisor. And because those are also the comments that you'll see online. I went in, Bob Johnson, man, was Bob great with me, and I highly recommend this store, and I'm only going to get my vehicle service with Bob Johnson at ABC Ford or whatever the case might be. That's what the dealer wants to see. That's what the GM wants to see. You get enough of those, and they come tapping on your shoulder and saying, "Hey, I think we need you in another spot." You know, so
it's funny. We all want happy employees. We all want our employees to be successful. That is always our goal. It's amazing how we don't understand the emotional side of that customer, right? That are not the customer, the employee themselves, who are literally just yearning for some leadership to say that, right?
Yeah.
And of course, retention is the secret sauce. We want that customer who may now only visit once a year to recognize the faces. You're exactly right.
That's exactly right. Don Andres, so why auto service departments fail to grow? As I said, we'll have a link right beneath this video that you're watching. Get yourself a copy of it. It's information like this that your service department, your GM, whether you're a dealer, GM, fixed ops director, service advisor, technician, it's a great book. So take your career to the next level. But so Donald, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Love to do a follow-up with you because there's a lot of things to cover with regard to fixed ops. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for that. And love the show, by the way, Jim. Been watching it for years. It's a great value for me to come in the morning and click that news and have an understand what's happening for the day. So keep up the great work.
Great. Thank you so much for those kind comments. We will do that. Thanks.